Hey, hello, James.
Hi, Karen.
Nice to chat with you.
Yeah.
It
Been,
is.
been an interesting sort of couple of days, really.
How's it? What, with the new moon, you mean? With the.
No, I revisited the film Terminator again. I thought, let's just have a look at this again with fresh eyes and see what's revealed in it. It's quite interesting what's coming out of it.
Yeah.
So the first bit is where you've got Sarah Connor. She's in the police station, and what's his name? Lieutenant, I think the character name is Lieutenant Traxler. I mean, I had to laugh because that sounds like Dracula. But he says to her, he said, "You'll be quite safe here. This building has got 30 cops in it." And I thought, that's very interesting because you cop things, you cop the blame for something. It's to do with your set and return every 30 years. That's what it's referring to.
Right.
Because the police station is part of this material world of the system, and they're not on our side. They're not there to protect the public. They're basically revenue collectors, and that is it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
They're just part of this illusory reality. They're just people in fancy dress costumes at the end of the day.
Yeah. I find it all really strange with this Roman Empire thing going on with Germany, England, and Russia in it.
Yeah,
Double eagles and the crowns on the top. But I meant to look a bit up today, but it's so confusing. You don't find, just anyway. You know what it's like. It's dead ends all the time.
yeah, definitely. What
Yeah.
it is,
So, what have you been doing, James?
um, just observing, just watching. I'm having the time of my life. um, it's just fantastic. I don't need a passport to go anywhere in time or space, and I can go off astral planing, and it leaves this body behind. And it's quite interesting what I was just shown about how the thing's been twisted. You get these depictions with Egyptian with the thing
What are
with
you
the
talking
pharaoh.
about? Are you talking about Terminator here? Or are you just talking about life in general?
No, this is what I was just shown a little while ago to do with this Egyptian thing where you've got the pharaoh and then you've got, I think it's like Anubis and whatever, and various other figures. That's um, that's a sort of like a renewal thing, but it's a thing with this reality is you're given as much as you can handle. So if you want out, you just if you think and feel I've had enough of this, then another soul will walk in and take over the body
Yeah,
and
I think we turn ourselves off, James. I'm not saying
yeah,
everybody does. I'm not saying people don't die from illnesses, but I think, like sheep, we have this capacity. Once you start saying, "Oh, I'm ill," all the
yeah.
rest of it, then you can do it yourself.
Oh yeah, because you're impressing that feeling into yourself. One of the best examples of this, if you've got two singers and one is like pitch perfect and spot on, and the other singer is not quite as good, that one will come across better to the audience if they put feeling into the singing, because people will pick up on that and they will feed on that feeling. This is where the real sight is. It's in feeling. It's not what you're taking through the eyes. Um, it's wonderful just sort of sitting back. It's like this sort of realization there's absolutely nothing out there that can actually harm you. It all works on trickery, the whole thing, right the way through. It's like people don't grasp the idea that the NHS Trust, which is floated on the stock exchange, is a business that deals in sickness. And like any business, it's not going to kill off its supply. Um, it's another script being played. It's called The Final Solution. It's computer generated. If your value with your birth certificate and it's deemed that you're worth more they can make more money out of you out of chemo, you'll get a placebo.
That is
If
awful,
they
though, isn't it? You can make
well,
someone feel that they've got something seriously wrong with them and make them go for treatment, and they didn't. We
well,
put such trust in these people, but I don't trust any of them anymore.
well, the clue's in the word treatment. I mean, it's a treat to the mind, not to
Yes,
our mind.
yes, the ment again, yeah.
Yep. It's all done by trickery. The whole thing, the way. I mean, I'm not saying they're all knowingly in on this. Some of them will believe what they've been told, and it does seem to make sense unless you start digging a bit deeper.
In our world, poof goes scientists, poof goes doctors, poof goes people who are into astrology. I mean, except those that are awake. You know, those. I mean, like people in the observatories. They all need to go to prison.
Well, they're all forms of a religion because, by definition, you're giving somebody else authority and power over you because you're looking up to them and thinking that what they're telling you is the truth.
Yeah.
This all points to being like a secret priesthood who just kept the knowledge to themselves for self-serving purposes, and this game just keeps going on and on and on. But it's all an illusion. It is easy to see through all the bullshit.
It's all an illusion.
Well,
Hey James, you know we
yeah,
were doing. I know that I said that I was leaving the platform for you, but I just wanted to tell you this bit. I
yeah.
looked at Napoleon yesterday. When we
Mm.
looked up all that stuff about him, did we ever find that he was the Roman emperor?
No, but he tried to. I think he crowned himself as emperor.
Yeah, that's what we think. That's because he is. He was the Roman emperor, but
Yeah,
for some reason he destroyed it at the same time. Through him, it ended in 1806. But that's why
yeah.
he's wearing the crown, because he actually was the Holy Roman Emperor.
All right.
I
Oh,
know. No wonder here they're greeting him. I could never understand that. You know, if he's the baddie and he's just a warmongering killer, oh, it's because he was the Roman Emperor. That's why they gave him the roses. Carnations, should I say?
yeah,
Red carnations.
yeah. Funny business that.
Well, we don't know if any of it's true either. That's probably why they banished him, because he would have been an emperor.
Well, I love this. I love the way the system actually shows everything. What this boils down to is mistaken identity at the end of the day.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you have in the physical body what are called nucleotides, and they're the building blocks of everything. And every 10th one, and then every 5th, every 6th, and every 5th is a sulfuric bridge. And it's in the Hebrew, it spells out YHWH, Yahweh. So encoded right through every human body and in everything is this YHVH. So when you sort of feel that, then the whole perspective of this reality just totally changes.
The people who don't understand all that, James, explain it a little bit more.
Right. In the Hebrew alphabet, there's numeric values to letters. So Y is 10, H is 5, and W is 6. So it spells 10-5-6-5, or was it Yah Hey Vud Hey, which is Yahweh. But it's been corrupted into Jehovah. Jehovah is the god of chaos. That's humanity being gods. It's vanity. That's why you have statues, and that's why in law you have statutes. They set things in stone. But it's beautiful the way it all just sort of unfolds, and it's like, oh yeah, I see this now. It's like the whole Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor in the Terminator. That's divine masculine and divine feminine. It's the divine feminine who comes forward, because they're not separate characters, they're representations of us. We appear to be of two minds, and yet we are of one mind. It's the difference between being a success. So I could be JD Rockefeller and I'd be a success with making money, but my personal life might be absolute shit. I might be really unhappy. So I'd be a success at something, but I wouldn't be successful, which is actually emptying the cup. Because you see through all the sucking of the cess that this reality presents to you, and you just reject it all. It's like, it's all bullshit, it's all an illusion, it's not doing me any good. I'm chasing after material shit, basically, when there's so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all in the feeling. It's not just at a conceptual level. There gets a point where it just opens up and it's like, wow. And it's like, there isn't anything can actually harm me. They can present all these things on the screen, all this fear shit.
Well, I saw today that it's getting worse again.
Is it?
Yeah. This is what this. I saw it just on one of the, I don't know, Yahoo or something. He said, this is what it was a month ago. This is what it is now. It's spiking again.
Well, that's quite funny.
Damn thing. I wish it would float away and never come back.
It's funny. Yeah, the closest I can describe this, you know, when you see sort of sunrise as it's just coming over the horizon. Sometimes in meditation, I'll actually go for a journey inside my body. So I'll go right down to my fingertips and it's shining a light out. It's the little ego me the little I will want to be in control. This is all part of this game, but it's when you go into meditation and you break that serpent eating its tail, and the pineal gland switches on. Well, everything changes. It's like there's absolutely nothing can actually harm me at all.
You have no power over me.
Well, they don't. It seems right the way through there's a repeat pattern that the only power.
You know what? It's so much so that last weekend in London, thousands and thousands of people went marching. Not reported at all.
No, they won't report it because they don't want to encourage it. But it's gonna come down to it's gonna be like a seesaw, scales of justice. So it's a blindfolded woman. It will come from seeing within. If the eye is singular, then the body is filled with light. Then you get to see through all the bullshittery of this reality.
Your life changes a bit once you realise that, doesn't it, James?
Well, it's a subconscious mind because when you think about it, every action that you do, from blinking of an eyelid to taking a step forward, that's a successful action. There's no doubt. The subconscious mind, there's the thought goes to the body.
An awful lot has happened to that because I have to think about talking, think about moving before I even do it.
Yeah, but it's instantaneous, so isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it, it's not even consciously done. I mean, all the function of the organs, it's marvelous. It's all just running.
Yeah, your heart keeps going, you keep breathing, thank God. The sun comes up in the morning, thank God.
Well, you haven't got to think about it. It just happens. It's wonderful. So that frees up half the mind for a start. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just on like an autopilot. So it's just getting the dialogue. So it's like, well, if the mind can do that with that part, why can't I do it within this reality? Is it because I'm allowing doubts? I'm thinking too much? And this is the thing.
We're human here, aren't we? We're a bit different. We've got a sort of earthly body.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you, in the meditation, if you're still the conscious mind and it's not sort of talking away and making lots of noise, it opens up a dialogue with the subconscious, and then things.
Maybe you can only go so far here.
Eh?
maybe you can only go so far here.
Yeah.
Do it mentally, just can't do it physically.
Well, physically, it's impossible. The physical vessel is tied to this reality. It stays in this reality, and it just morphs into something else. It becomes nutrients for a tree or whatever. And then eventually the cycle will come round again. That just self-perpetuates. It's beautiful. That's on this.
We don't even live for very long in reality, James. If you think about, say this place is as old as they say it is, which I don't believe it, but even if it's 600 years, it's been here for 600 years. We're only going to make 70, 80, 90 years. We're going to be like, we can only experience it for such a small time, really. And then when you actually understand it mostly, you're getting older. You're not young when you know you're under 15 or 20. Imagine the different life you would have had.
I'd be quite happy to just to stop as I am and age no further. So that's what I'm going for. So 10 years time, if I look 10 years old, you know, I haven't got it right.
That's very funny, James.
But I don't want to be here for an eternity. I just want to watch this transition. We get this whole new cosmology, this whole new age coming. And
well, I think some of us are dying for it. But you know, I don't know what it means. There's something to do with, I think some power has changed. They're not telling us because they've never told us the truth, so they can't tell us. Something's happened, like the Queen's not at Buckingham Palace, but the Queen seems to run everything. What's going on?
As far as I can see, this basically like a magnetic wave going to sweep through everything that is outside of their control. And people will basically have a kick up the arse, and I feel sorry for those that are not. I mean,
it's all in place anyway, to be honest, because local government deals with everything that you need. You know, we pay not America and other places, but we pay council tax, which pays for the dustman, the police, the ambulance, and other things. So we're already paying. What do we need the government for?
Well, it's not that. It's more a case of if you were a radio, your bandwidth is between like 88, 87 and a half and 108 on VHF. But it's shown that outside of the perception of the five senses, there's so much more. Now imagine if all that was suddenly revealed all at once, the shock that would be. If everybody's senses could suddenly see everything.
Whenever it comes, it's always a shock, isn't it? Because you just go like, holy moly. Oh,
well, you imagine all your ancestors and all your descendants all there, all around you, all at the same time. The shock of, oh, fuck. There's sorry to swear. There's like, oh, time it's true. Time is an illusion. It is all here now. That's going to be a hell of a shock to a lot of people if it is presented in that way. So,
or that you realise that everything you've been taught is a lie and everything is completely different. It is a bit of a shock, isn't it? I mean, even I shouldn't get shocked, but sometimes when I come across things, I'm just like, oh my God.
Well,
nothing should shock me anymore.
For the last.
The people need to change. I don't think we're violent people because we all, they closed the world down overnight without a soldier or a police officer for the lockdown. We're not violent people, but they're narcissists.
That's system creation. But I was going to say, for the last, I suppose,
you're always better than someone else. That's the way that it's got. Like, I'm better than you. I'm better than most people. But it's that kind of attitude. A lot of people are like that.
I was going to say, for the last, I think it's about 6 days now, I can hear this sort of blood-curdling screaming going on, and all I can put it down to is I'm picking up on the collective of cellular separation going on, shall we say, which will be caused by the needlecraft. So the crux of this is going to come down to people won't. Though it's a weird system. You've got the programming, so people take things personally and then they react rather than respond. But it's going to take them to see a loved one drop down dead from having this thing before the reality will set in.
I don't think people, people like said, oh, well, they don't want Charles, he won't be king. And I go, look, if the Queen dies and they say he's king, we'll accept it. We seem to
No,
accept all these things. We don't seem to. I think because we've had such horrible, you know, headings and news that people forget 10 years ago. Like you said, it was you. Was it you that couldn't
yeah,
give them the mad cow disease? And that
yeah,
was bad
this is
enough.
it.
And look what they told us. And actually, it was what was in the animal's food. It's nothing to do
Yeah.
with the animal. It's when they ate what was in the food.
What I'm saying is this the pendulum of this scale, these scales of justice. Things do hang in the balance. It's going to be a trade-off between number of people seeing very close loved ones dropping down dead from having this thing before they think, hang on a minute, something isn't right here. So I don't know which way the pendulum's going to swing. I would estimate 95% of, well, I think it is a case of the meek will inherit the world, will inherit the earth, and mankind is going to go extinct. To put it bluntly, I think 95% is going to perish the way things stand. And good, because there won't be a housing shortage. There won't be a shortage.
Yeah, and then whoever's left, they'll be going, and that's the lot that didn't take it.
Yeah, yeah. I've got no sympathy. It's like, well, I'm not.
Well, nothing's changed in my close right now. I mean, if ambulance starts turning up and I think, oh, something's happened over there and I don't see anything. And I was talking to a girl yesterday. It was really good. She was a young person. And she stuck up for me, James, because we started talking. Her little boy was going, look at me, sort of thing. And it got into a conversation. And then I told her that I didn't believe in a lot of stuff and I had a YouTube channel. And then basically this woman, I was saying something. I said, you just don't know, do you? And then this woman who wants me to wear a mask in Tesco's up the road, she said, don't believe her, don't listen to her. And the girl stuck up and said, well, that's your opinion. I don't mind listening to what she's got to say. Thank you very much. And she carried on talking for a few minutes. And I just carried on paying for my bits. And I thought, and then afterwards, because this woman, obviously, she went, I said, thanks very much, darling. See you later. And they took my channel. So hopefully they've watched a few videos now.
Excellent. Well, this is the sort of crux of it. One person will say something, and they then take on this role of being the accuser because they're saying they're not telling the truth, right? But you're empowering them by then defending it, because at the end of the day, that's only their opinion.
But I'm really strange. That same woman the other day, I said something else in that shot. And basically I was saying, like, well, once you've had it, you can't give blood. And she said, well, that's not true because my daughter's had it and she's given blood. So it's hard to know what's the truth and what isn't, to be honest, James, about what we're told.
Well, a lot of it is put out there. I mean, I've got this thing about public notice contracts. Scottish police want
I just think they're changing the laws. I mean, maybe in about 6 months they'll turn around and tell us that somebody else is in charge. I don't know.
Don't really care because no one's in charge.
America's gone quite quiet right now, isn't it?
No one's in charge of anybody else. That's just religious thinking again. It's like giving authority a view over to somebody else. You're basically saying, I stand under their power. No way.
The only way we're going to make this work is if everybody turned their televisions off and found different ways of talking to each other.
Well, it's more than that. It's meditation is the answer, because the 12 disciples are your 12 cranial nerves. And it does open up a whole magical new dimension. It really does. It's like, I don't want to stay in this body. The ones that have actually got it right are those Tibetan monks that you've just got this preserved body shell and their spirit they don't.
Is it those monks there that they can, as they're dying, they can make themselves basically go almost to nothing? Their body.
Yeah, I think this is what was really going on when you see these pharaoh depictions. I think it's when you get to that point where you realize that you're just a personality and the creator of everything, you're just an expression of it. And you then get to this level where you don't really want to be in this reality anymore. It is just an illusion. The little I part is trying to cling on and trying to prevent it. Again, I mean, it's a huge truth.
I think just say you're watching the television all the time and you see everything, you're going to believe it. Those people that believe it, and there's us who don't watch the television and don't.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work on everybody. This is the thing. But I thought one of the most revealing lines is in that Terminator film, where Kyle Reese, which is an anagram of like seer, because he's come from the future, and he says, "The future is not set," as in SETT. There is no fate except that which we create ourselves. So we are gods in the making. We create our own reality. And people who go out there and have that feeling of, I don't know, oh, there's a deadly virus and I don't want to catch it. Well, they're already implanting that feeling inside their body, which will actually physically manifest. They're making themselves ill by thinking that way because they're thinking in a very negative state of mind, which the system is encouraging them to do because it knows exactly what it's doing. They put these things out there for a reason, on purpose, but you don't have to take their script. It is a case of switch off from all of it. I mean, most of it, I go into meditation and just let things come. You get, I can't say exactly you get shown as in the...
Yeah, definitely, because I did a video the other day and it looks like Obama is Michelle.
Well, there's two characters, unless they've CGI'd and got one person and then overlaid whatever they do it.
The same teeth, the same mouths, the same lines which go down from the nose, down to the chin, the same shaped face. All they've done is made him up, drag his eyebrows up, put a wig on him, made him up, and no one's noticed. Someone said that they're actors and that actually that's his sister, but they've got the same teeth, the same mouth, they look like the same person to me.
They're not in my world at all.
You know that they love doing things like that. They're disgusting.
They're not in my world at all. I don't. They have no effect on me at all.
You have no power over me.
Oh, have you seen the latest ridiculous thing that they say at the end of an age that the craziness will get worse? There's a new fashion called pee pants. It's denim and it looks like you've peed yourself. So that'd be perfect for those that have had the jab.
What a stupid thing to have that is then.
But I mean, it's insane enough now. You've got guys going around with the crutch hanging down and the boxer shorts on display, and it's like, if only they knew that that originates from gay sex in prison. And it's like, why would you do that? And then it's like around the ankles there's all this material. It's like, buy a bloody belt or something. It's like, at least learn to dress yourself. But then you look at the footwear. There's a whole generation of children that only know Velcro. They don't even know how to tie laces. It's sad. I don't like children. I have to admit, I really don't like children.
James, I love children. They're our future. They're lovely.
Well, when I say I don't like children, I find they're the most painful when you think how innocent they are, and you think the poor sods are going to be programmed by this system and they're going to be turned into these horrible narcissists.
Yes, I must admit, my granddaughter Bonnie was always on the television. This last few times I've visited, the television hasn't been on, and I'm so happy because when that's on, she's a zombie.
Yeah. I'm sure it's radio frequencies as well that come off these things that is helping to, and the continuous bombardment of insanity, of meaningless, judgmental material world. I mean, you've got all these people with these super white teeth, gelled hair, and it's all fake and artificial, and it's just nonsense. The whole lot of it. I just can't. I just can't watch it.
Yeah, but you know, when we were younger, everything moves really fast, and that's sometimes why parents don't get on with their kids, because what it is we don't keep changing our hair, our style, and these kids are changing all the time, and we have to keep up with our children.
Well, it's funny because on the one hand, we're sort of giving the impression that you went into the same trade. Your father was a coal miner, and his father was a coal miner, or whatever. But then when you look at it, you've got like the roaring 20s, and women are now starting to be daring, and they're showing ankles. And then it's got into
dress from the ankle up to above the knee. Woo!
Well, and then you get to the 1960s and the high heels and mini skirts. I mean, each generation successively, it's been aggressive, more of a dynamic opposite to cause conflict between generations. It's all divide and conquer.
It's really strange because this whole thing about, I don't like this whole thing about transgender, but I suppose in one sense you could say that women have always looked quite like men because they wear trousers all the time. But putting a pair of trousers on doesn't make me think, oh, I'm a man.
No, it's been done for all the wrong reasons. I mean, you could say
Yeah.
basically a kilt is a dress in a way, and you look at all like the Roman legionnaires, they
Yeah,
basically got
they've
pleated.
all got mini skirts on,
Well,
James.
they have, but effectively, yeah. And then you get all these people wrapped in white sheets. You know, they're just fancy dress costumes at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But the other thing that comes out in that storyline, it shows that this reality just loops because Kyle Reese is the father of John Connor, but the father has to come for the to bring the son into this world. There's like a familiar sort of religious ring to that whole storyline, really, when you see it that way.
Yeah,
But
mine's been Total Recall. That film is just so apt as well to what's kind of
yeah,
going on for us. And I know it's not your favourite. Yours is into you're into Terminator and all that. But
yeah,
I just see, to me it's Total Recall. There's loads of them. There's the Truman Family. There's so many
yeah.
films. They brought it out and you think, God, it's just like what they're doing to us.
It's the same message coming out, and not all of them. I mean, you take the Sarah Connor character, how she is at the start of that film. She's a waitress who's struggling in the world,
And after
and
that, yeah, she's
this
another
is
one like Sergeant Major and she could be in an
well,
army.
she's mother of the future. She's the representation of the divine feminine in all of us. It's finding that side of the brain, giving over um, to the sort of ever loving
Yeah,
side
they
of.
imprison her, don't they?
Sorry.
They imprison her.
Yeah, she goes through, shall we say, like a dark night of the soul, really.
And then in the end, she dies, doesn't she? She's not in the later films. I mean, she's probably too old, the actress,
Well,
actor,
I
whoever
think,
plays her.
I think, to be honest, I think she has a bit of more self-respect, and I think she refused to appear in the later films because the storyline was diabolical. It was inconsistent, and it's like everything else. It's like they make these things deliberately bad to disappoint because it's all negative energy they're generating. It all feeds into that whole thing. It's like, hey, we're coming out of lockdown. Oh, we're now going into the colder weather. We're going, summer's over. Oh, we'll put you back in lockdown. That yo-yo thing. It's all to create that negativity.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. Everything seems to be negative, doesn't it?
Well, it's like all the words. It's whoever designed the language knew exactly what they were doing. That's why it's government. It's governing the mind by something that you're giving power over you and saying I consent to them doing this to me. And it's like a treatment in a hospital. Well, the only healthy thing that they're interested in is healthy profits. You're just a human resource. You're
Yeah,
just
I think really it's sort of like, the Americans have to pay for everything, don't they? And that's basically what they've been doing sort of under our noses anyway, turning it into a business.
well, they do it here. They're just more sneaky. They don't charge you directly. They do it through taxes and things, don't they? But they still take the money for it.
Yeah.
They're still like the franchise for the pharmaceutical industry at the end of the day. The fact it's got the word trust in it and it's a government institution makes me suspicious. Anything that has the word trust, it's like, look the other way. That means they're not trustworthy. And lo and behold, they're floated on the stock exchange. That's a business.
Yeah, we're a business, aren't we, really?
Well, what you go to a doctor or a hospital, what do they do? Give you
It
tablets.
wasn't made for that reason. It was meant to stay free.
Hmm. But it's what they're giving you is the
Yeah,
problem.
you know why they can't? Because they've put. I'm not saying I would even like to be one of these people, but if you're going to include things like, say, people wanting to have babies and that, and artificial insemination, you've got to pay for it somehow. These things cost loads of money.
Hmm.
You know,
Well,
I don't know where you separate it, where you say that should be free and that should be paid for.
well, it depends what it is, I suppose.
I bet you they don't really see very many people at the moment, do they?
I've no idea. I don't give them any business.
Well, it doesn't make me think I want to go there either.
I wouldn't. Because
Yeah,
whatever
I
they,
believed in all that system, and now I don't. I mean, you don't
what,
mean not to because you've grown up with it, but now I don't.
whatever they give you is going to be synthetic. It's
Yeah.
not going to be something natural. I'd look towards nature for the answers. That will provide everything we need.
That Robin's been around again, talking about nature.
Oh,
I've
lovely.
seen three times I've seen him just outside the back door, or she.
Oh, that's wonderful.
When James stayed here and left, the day he
Yeah.
left, I went downstairs for something, and then suddenly I could hear this noise, and I thought, "What's that?" I thought, "Ellie," and then I realised there's this robin flying around the top of the house. I had to
Wow.
get out the window, but it came in.
Oh,
It probably thought James is gone.
well, no, that's a sign for you. Look up the spiritual meaning of Robin. That'll just skim the first 5 entries on a Google search, and you give you. There's a message in there. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so and I'll go
Beautiful.
get my iPad. Hang on, keep 1 second. Just keep talking, James. Let me get my.
Okay. Where do I start? I see it all as an all-seeing eye, which is a combination of like a 0 and a 1, like on the power on and off button on every gadget, and we're all individual expressions of it. It knows us. We don't know it. It's identity crisis. This is the big thing with all this scaremongering that's going on in the external world, and it's all about identity and tags. Well, the real identity is we've forgotten who we are, which is finding the I am in each of us, the I amness in us all. That's all it is. And then
Well, that bit's right for a lot of people.
the thing is, everything in this reality has a measurement and can be quantified. We're dealing with something that is both bigger and smaller and can't be quantified. So we can't tell it anything. It already knows. It's just playing all these different parts, and we think we're individual personalities. It's the eyes of the deceiver, is the two eyes, this illusory world or matrix, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's fun observing this. I'm loving it. It's very relaxed around this way. I'm seeing more and more faces when I'm out, which is wonderful. Instead of just a pair of scared-looking eyes like a deer caught on
Oh,
a
it does. It's not very good for a robin. It's as if a robin comes in your house, but this is weeks ago. It means death. But I suppose maybe it was the death of James and the fact that James had been staying here and gone.
Well, yeah, that's all. That's what death, like with a death card in tarot, it just means a change. So it's just an end. It's like a end of a chapter of a story, really.
It says, however, you can never know if seeing a robin is a sign of bad luck because most of the time we create our own luck. If a robin enters the house, as I've mentioned above, represents death.
Oh, it can be. There's lots of deaths. I mean, death of belief in a silly scamdemic, for example. That would be a wonderful death.
Yeah.
If more people could see through all this, but it comes down to the creator picks us. We don't pick the creator. So
it says in here it's a totem animal, is a spirit animal that stays with us our whole lives to guide us.
Yeah, wonderful. Another
one now. When a robin is associated with the end of an old phase and the entering of a new one, to see a robin means you need to let go of what you no longer serves you and find something else to bring you joy and happiness. The robin bird is encouraging you to be brave again. What does it mean if a robin enters your house? What does it mean? Then it stops there.
No, that's I would say is the one that resonates the best from
Growth,
that.
renewal. Yeah, that's what it's basically saying.
That's good.
So every time I see the robin, I think, oh, something's outgrown me. I need to change something.
Well, there's a sort of broader general message for everybody out there. It's if something catches your eye, be it a bird or whatever, then it's a sign. But from nature, it's a beautiful reminder to get, because if you look up the spiritual meaning of whatever bird it is, something will resonate in there. It's just a little sign. That thing about the meek shall inherit the earth. It's an anagram. They've swapped the K and the E round. It's the me key. It's finding the spirit inside yourself. That is the key to it. That's why it says the meek shall inherit the earth. It's the me key.
Just
The
changing
magnet.
the subject a bit, James. Why do you think that? I understand the birds sing in the morning and the birds
Yeah,
sing at dusk. Why aren't
yeah.
they singing in the day at all?
Maybe they're. I don't know. Maybe it's a communication. It's sort of the equivalent of saying it's morning, time to get up, and sort of affirming that it's time to go to bed at night. I don't know, to be honest. It is fascinating because the vocal ranges of some of them are incredible.
Oh, I've had one outside my house sometimes. It sings away and I love it.
Yeah, it's wonderful. If you listen, I think it's the blackbirds. They do the
Wouldn't you just love to know what they're saying?
yeah, I would. I'd love to know. It's fascinating.
I mean, I remember
From
as a kid realizing that when they're doing that, it's like they're singing a concerto. The whole thing, it's so musical.
yeah, that's oh, it's all to do with sound and frequency, isn't it? I think it's
It's
something that
really weird how they
humanity's
sing like
lost.
that in the morning because it's really cold in the morning when dawn comes.
Hmm. I never see that early in the day. I don't
It's
get up till
cold.
about
The air
11.
just gets, for a few minutes, the air just gets really cold.
Yeah, I never see that time of day.
Oh, I've often been up at the dawn making videos and stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm normally
It's actually
listening
my
to it.
favourite time. I mean, more in the summer, like now, right now, to be up at dawn. I love it.
I wish, well, if I had my way, it would be permanent summer, to be honest.
Do you think as many planes have been going, James? I don't think as many planes. They're still not going.
Well, funny
But
enough,
there are planes going. But say, for instance, they went for 10 hours, they go for 1 hour, and then you don't hear them the rest of the day.
there's been the occasional large civil airliner come over here. More sort of noticeable because it is just the odd one, but it's like, but I mean, when I was at yours, you're on the main flight path from Heathrow, and I know that there's one a minute takes
What
off
is
from
it?
there.
They stop planes. Well, they don't want to. They don't. Instead of saying this is operation to save the world and to get the baddies, no, they're just stopping us from moving around.
Yeah.
I mean, Gary's gone to Portugal on Sunday. She's gone for 2 weeks.
I think there's too many dubious bits about travel requirements for my liking. But I don't think there's any point in physically going anywhere, to be honest.
I was thinking, oh, today was almost like we could have been in Portugal today. It was that warm here.
Mm,
It was.
yeah,
It probably isn't as warm as Portugal, but it was it's just a lovely day today.
yeah, yeah. I sat outside for quite a bit of it. Just sat in the sun. It's
I think
wonderful.
this is the hottest day of the year today.
Yeah, quite believe it.
1st of June. It took 6 months to get here.
Yeah,
You know, it's
yeah.
so cold, James. I don't know what it's been like for you up there, but it's so cold down here.
It was, well, I suppose till a couple of weeks ago, it's progressively got warmer. That's quite nice.
Well, it got warmer in the day, but the nights were still so cold. And
Yeah,
the last couple of days, last day or so, it's just got warmer.
yeah. Still getting cooler at nights here. So, um, but during the day, yeah, it's wonderful. And the light in the north is, I know it's clearer or word for it, but it looks different up this way. I think cleaner air really, if that makes sense.
It's probably a bit more, yeah, probably. It's, you know, a bit more country is the whole thing, isn't it? Really.
A bit like where we went up on that high point. That sort of feeling of expansiveness, I think, is to the sky.
That's really weird that day because me and James went on Coombe Hill. Are you talking about Coombe Hill Day?
That's it. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of it.
I didn't put the video out because there was so much wind up there that I couldn't hear what you said. It was so annoying. But basically, when me and James, do you know that? I mean, even when I was with you, I didn't know that point there on Coombe Hill when we were at that Hangman's Noose is the highest point in southern England.
Yeah, the thing is, from looking in certain directions, because
Yeah,
the landscape, you can't really.
And then there's probably a few more mountains, and then there comes that point on Coombe Hill. And I tried to explain it to people in another video. I saw how they layered up England, that we're on this plateau that goes across, and then Coombe Hill sticks out of that. But if you took this plateau away from where we are, people from Cirencester live down there. If they looked at Coombe, it would be like a mountain.
Yeah.
We only see it as a hill, and we live up here and they live down there. That's why Coombe is, you know, it's hard to believe, but the Coombe is the highest point in the south.
Yeah, that's nice.
I was like, wow. No wonder they had a hill fort on it.
But it's a shame it was quite misty in the distance, wasn't it? So
well, it was. We were going, on look at the mist and all that, and we realised it wasn't mist, it was a cloud.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what we were looking at. It was a light cloud, you know, it was very see-through cloud, but it hazed everything. But we realised, because we could see it moving, that we were in a light cloud. I mean, in Cirencester, the clouds wouldn't be there because we're up here.
Yeah.
You imagine the hill's got to be about a quarter of a mile long. So for people in Cirencester, the clouds probably are a bit more up in the sky because they're another quarter of a mile up.
They're much further down, aren't they?
For us, like, we're on top of the hills, they're not very far away.
No.
But they don't explain that we're living on the hills, which is just bananas.
Well, no, it's part of this deception of what this reality is and everything about it, really.
Is that Rudy? Is that Rudy who's come back?
No, I think that's somebody to the gas meter outside.
Oh.
I think the sound of it. I can't really make it out.
Yeah, it's getting dark now. It's getting dark out here, Jim.
Really? It's still light here.
Well, no, it is light here, but it's getting dark. Yeah, you're an hour behind me.
Yeah.
You get an hour more light in the summer.
Yeah, it makes up for the cold winter.
Anyway, you're not up there. You're to the left. You're over there.
Yeah.
I asked a few people, you know, like, 'cause some people live up in Yorkshire and that. And I said, when you're driving up there, do you feel like you're driving up or down? And they all said they feel like they're driving down.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you feel like that when you were driving down Scotland?
When I went round the west side of the M25 and onto the M1, that as you're driving along, everything looks to be slightly downward till you get to sort of roughly, I suppose, sort of Yorkshire, really. When you're right up by, it does seem to gently progress downwards the whole way. You get the odd uphill bit, but overall it is descending. That's certainly how it looks through the windscreen of the car, definitely.
Wow. So when you get to Yorkshire or something?
Yeah, it seems to gently drop the whole way.
Weird, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like it's like the south of England is actually the highest point in a way. But
really, what, in Scotland?
Well, it's a job because as you get coming up the west side through Lancashire and then Cumbria, you sort of lose that. It then seems, yeah, if anything, it seems to be going slightly upward again. It's almost like I suppose that sort of Yorkshire Manchester line is sort of like at the bottom. It's like a V shape in a way from that perspective.
Wow, it's crazy, that, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, even when you first get into Scotland, south of Glasgow and Edinburgh, it doesn't really feel any different from the north of England. It's when you get the other side, you get those picturesque sort of landscapes you get on every calendar and every picture of Scotland. But you haven't got that landscape this south of the two cities. There's no difference between this and England, really. In fact, when I came down from last year, I don't even remember seeing a sign saying I'd crossed into England. And I suddenly realised, oh yeah, I must be in England by now. But I don't remember seeing the sign. That's strange.
Right.
But there's no cut off in the feeling of the landscape until you hit those two cities, and then once you get north of those. But that's the other thing as well. It's ingrained in our minds that north is up, but on maps and things. So the concept of the word up, it has got two meanings. It's up as in looking towards the sky up, or up as in north on a map. But what really is up? And they've not always been orientated with north at the top on maps either.
So you don't think it gets very hilly until you get to the top part of Scotland?
But no, when you get through into Cumbria, it gets hilly. But the sort of pictures you see of Scotland on calendars and when they're showing the landscapes, that's north of Edinburgh and Glasgow. You start getting that sort of Highland sort of picturesque view with the valleys and things. Not so much this side.
Wow.
There's no different in this sort of landscape to sort of Newcastle.
Wow. I think actually on that picture I used, it's not. I can see it's not really hilly, and here is the hilliest point. Yes, I see that, and even there's a peak, but I wasn't sure if that was Hampshire, but that could be Coombe Hill. But it was about the trees, the most dense trees,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and that happens to be, Hampshire, I think.
yeah. That'd be like I suppose New Forest, would it? Or
I'm not sure, but that's the most densely populated trees.
hmm. Yeah, it seems a lot more down that way. I must admit.
What trees you mean?
Yeah. Well, they say Sussex is the most densely populated county for trees today, and that's lost an awful lot. Pretty much all of Sussex was like a forest at one time. That's where you get the word weald, like the weald and clay. It's a band that comes across from Kent, and clay is perfect for oak trees. And it's said that Sussex was just a dense forest all the way across, 90 miles across and 30 miles deep.
Oh,
But they've sort of removed all the trees off the downs and things, so they're just like open areas now.
damn! I love trees.
Mm. They got such a beautiful feeling and character to them.
I just think it's amazing how all their root system works and how they communicate with each other under the ground.
Well, that's what our veins and arteries do inside us, really. We're no different, except we're on two legs. Where our root system is in our tree
And
of
they're
life.
electrical.
Oh.
I couldn't get over that one I saw with Marie Wheatley, that one that was about 700 years old or whatever it was, and it had no bark in the middle. It was just basically the outer part, the bark of the tree. We were standing
Yeah.
in it, and it was hundreds of years old, and it had. I don't think the tree had been kept that nicely. It really needs to be pruned, and things had broken off of it, and you could see. But the
Yeah.
tree, apart from that, the tree was in really good. There was loads of leaves on it.
Yeah.
It was a yew tree. I mean, this was January, but what it was is that was one of the reasons that made me realise that religion had not been here very long. It was
Yeah.
Marie Wheatley. They'd built that. They'd planted that when for the pagan people.
You'll generally find every churchyard has got a yew tree in it because it goes back to the, well,
No, it
paganism,
goes
but
back
it's,
further than that. It goes back to paganism, and
yeah,
it got turned into a church in the last couple of 100 years.
I was going to say, but to give it really its correct term, our European ancestry. Um, the yew tree is a symbol of long life. And yeah, they definitely predate all the church buildings from when they say they were built. And the
Yeah, and also
purpose
they
for them
blocked
as
off the
well.
door. Any church you find with a blocked off door in it, that means that that was a pagan building that's been turned into a church.
Yeah, well, they definitely predate it all. But I mean, how long really has it been? I mean, who's written the history? It's not my story.
Yeah, his story.
Yeah, it's a bit like being something like Coronation Street, and you're a character that comes. The show's already been running 5 years, and um, it's like asking that actor, where did it all start? It's to me, it seems that this system. I mean, you've only got to look at nature, the whole process, and with the seasons, it goes through birth, growth, decay, death, and in a cycle. And I think everything about this reality does this, so it just loops back on itself. Um, it's all loopy to try and find the beginning and the end because there isn't one. Again, that's shown in Terminator. The father has to come back for the son to come in, and the son has to then find the father. But the real power is with the divine feminine mother. It's with Sarah Connor. That character changes from this incompetent waitress to this mother of the future. This warrior comes out, and that's the bit that humanity needs to find in every one of us. Don't sort of see it as being a woman. It's the subconscious side of the mind, the greater part of our minds. It's if you see that the creator is in everything, then why argue? You're arguing with yourself effectively. But the system encourages that as well. It wants you to pick a side in everything. And it's like, I'm not playing this game anymore. I'll adopt the role of being a watcher and just sit back and just watch the show. And hopefully it won't be genetically modified popcorn. That's a joke, by the way.
Hey, sorry.
Well, I've got to see the funny side of things because why waste putting energy into getting angry over it? It's things I can't change. I think it's pitiful when I see people walking around with this deer caught in headlights expression in their eyes and a diaper on the face, and I think, silly sod. But I thought, well, let them do it if that's what they want to do.
Yeah,
But
nothing we can really do to stop anybody anyway, is there?
I don't even interact with them at all.
No. We've been going for nearly an hour, James. Do you want to carry on for a little bit more?
Yeah, okay.
What else do you want to talk about?
Well, I was going to say, for a sort of a understanding of things, I recommend listening to Marie S. Watts. I don't think it's anything to do with Alan Watts. But the audiobooks that you can get on Giving Voice to the Age of Wisdom channel, they're fantastic. They really are worth listening to. They give you a whole new understanding of who you are. This is what it comes down to. It's knowing who we are. I mean, there's a bit in me that I know there's a psychopath that would pick up a meat cleaver and just cut someone in half. There's certain things that could trigger me, but I'm in control of the thoughts so they don't ever happen. But I can feel it inside myself. It's like, oh, there's that feeling again. It's like, oh, I recognise that, but it's not getting the better of me.
No. No.
Because it's all self-inflicted, because if you feel anger inside yourself, you've allowed something external of you to trigger that feeling. It's not a nice feeling. I don't want it. So it's like, nah, not letting that in. The door's closed to that.
Yeah, you've got to be a bit like that, haven't you, with your attention and stuff?
Well, look, the way I see it is it's like you're walking metaphorically onto a bridge and you just jump off and let go and trust. And just in that feeling that there's going to be something that's going to catch you, and it seems to work. Friend of mine, she wanted to move, and in my mind, I saw it that the next message I'd get from her that she would find this house, and sure enough, 18 days later, it happened. It's like people can believe it or not believe it, but just show me something in this reality that wasn't started in imagination. Somebody's imagination created a chair. If they didn't think it through in their mind properly, you might only have 2 legs on it when you need 4, because they haven't thought it through properly. But and just look around at everything that's man-made. It started with imagination and it's become a physical reality. This is the trick to it all. This is why they put these stories out in the media, because they want people to feel a certain way. And when you feel a certain way, you create. I mean, look what's happened. People feel that and believe something is real, and they've jumped with it in a very short space of time last year, and it's been insanity ever since.
Yeah.
I hear conversations like when I'm walking along, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. And it's like, only because you believe it. I've proved there's no roadblocks.
Well, they like to make us frightened, don't they, James?
Well, yeah, if the more they keep people in that fear state, you're not going to even think about meditating. They put people into a state where they're in survival mode. So now their thinking is completely reptilian. I mean, this whole thing about reptilians as well, it's not, this is the illusion of this reality. It's not going on in the physical. But if you were to just dissect somebody's brain who's, say, a narcissist or a psychopath, their neural pathways would be mapped out very different from someone who's benevolent. So they would look like a completely different species. It's not the external. It's that saying. It's what's inside that counts. That's what it comes down to, and it's getting to the stage you can sort of see the energy of people. I mean, it's pretty obvious when they've got nappies on their faces, but it's made it a lot easier to see what side of the fence they're on, whether they're on the positive or the negative. But I've found it's also in balance. It's brought out the very best in a lot of people as well. You're actually having conversations with people, and it's really pleasant, and it's a lovely feeling. So humanity is splitting in two, definitely. And good luck to them that got those going down that fear path. They can keep it.
It's not making us closer, they're just separating us out more, aren't they?
Well, they're suggesting a script, but that's down to each individual to decide whether they want to accept that script and go along with it, or say, no, I don't believe that. Because I've not, the pattern seems to be the same. It all works by trickery and you giving you consent. There doesn't seem to be any physically manhandling and dragging people against their free will. They imply it on films and things, but I've personally not seen any of this in this reality. I don't see people dropping down dead. Well, I see people wearing masks and looking very, very stupid, but
Well, I
that's up
went
to
out
them.
the other day and the people wearing them, they were like, get away from me, and they were all agitated and everything, those ones.
It's almost like a psychological comfort blanket for adults. Like that character from Peanuts that always carried that blanket. But it's having another psychological effect. It's pulling, because you've got the elastic on the bits around the ears. It's pulling the eyes to face the same way as the eyes. So it's getting your full attention on the television, the ears to hear and the eyes to see in the wrong way, sucking them further into that script.
Yeah, the script, the
But
holy script.
if it was presented in the right way, if you said to someone, look, here's an untested boat that's going to go across the Atlantic. We could even call it Titanic if you want. Are you going to get on it? Most people would say, no way, not if it's never been tested in the water, but they'll be peer pressured into taking drugs, shall we say. Funny, isn't it? The insanity of this reality.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're not fighting anymore, are we? And so forth.
There's nothing to fight. It's an invisible enemy in people's minds, really. How can you fight? You can't punch something that's. It's like show me your personality. You can't physically say here it is. It's all in the metaphysical, same as this thing that's supposed to be going around. Well, where is it? Where's the evidence of it? It doesn't go with what the published government figures are saying.
Yes.
It doesn't fit the picture with anything. I mean, like when we did that thing about Stephen Johnson saying the population being 70 million, and it's already dropped by a good 4 or 5 million before all this nonsense. And yet we're supposed to be in a world that's overpopulated. I don't see any evidence of that. I see a very fake illusion of every town and village has got new houses being added to give the impression that there's this massive population
How does that
explosion.
work out? They say that we could all of us live in Texas with 1 acre of land.
Yeah.
Do you believe that, James?
Well, Paul and Black Sheep research has showed it using their technology, as it were, because when they show areas of land at night, you can see where all the lights are, where all the cities and things are, and there's vast expanses with no lights whatsoever. So there's huge areas where there's no population or very little
We're all
population.
sitting there. We can't be nearly as many people as they say we are, surely.
I don't believe. Well, I don't know. I've got nothing to go on.
But they herd us into towns, and then everybody then thinks, oh, there's loads of people because of the towns.
Well, when I stayed with Rosie, that's supposed to have a population. I think I don't know if it's 40,000, but it's quite a small place. But you can't picture 40,000 people, and you think, where do they get this figure from? It's really hard to try and picture.
There you go. It's off now.
I thought, what's happening? And then
Oh,
there was
I don't know what happened
no
there.
sound.
I didn't press that. Anyway.
Yeah, there was no sound, and then there was just a picture, and then.
Oh, I've got my hair up. I'm not in a very open. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sort of I'm enjoying this unfolding of this
Yeah.
story.
This person he's got Kevin. His name's Kevin Allen. He says humans dug 12 kilometers limit. Human explore oceans 8 kilometers limit. But suddenly we can explore thousands of miles of outer space.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. The only space is between people's temples. It's expressed as nobody knows the appointed time. Well, appointed time, that's AT. It's at. It's where it's at. It's now. If you're picked, you sort of see things or you don't see things, I think is the answer. And most of them won't see it. They won't see what's coming. Actually, that's reminded me. There's a shop up the road called the Psychic Cafe, and the shutters have been down the whole time, and I'm waiting for them to reopen and saying, since you're called the Psychic Cafe, did you see this coming?
Ah.
Because it's like if they're a psychic cafe, then hopefully they can see into the future and know
Yeah,
for
they'd know when to open then, wouldn't they?
yeah. Oh, there's some amusing things to see. There really are.
So you're going to go and explore anywhere or anything, James?
Yeah, in meditation.
Oh my God, this guy, right? Sorry, I just looked at a few pictures. There was this big lump of wood and it says fallen redwood turned into this incredible giant octopus. It looks really nice.
Hmm.
A wooden octopus.
Wow. I can't sort of, I'm sort of trying to picture it.
Cool, seeing some of people from my past, but they were children and now they're women, you know. She's got to be about 22, 23.
Actually, there's a perfect example of imagination creates reality. That guy's had the imagination to see an octopus in that piece of wood and he sculpted it and turned it into
Yeah,
that.
amazing.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it made it, you know, it looks like he did it easily, but it's very, you're quite artistic for that.
Yeah. Careful cuts in the right places. You've got to have that overall picture in your mind first before you start doing it to put the cuts and get the proportions right. That's quite a skill. That's pretty good.
Yeah, being a carver really is. Yeah, it's good. I'll put it out on a video and you can see it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about, James?
No, that's it really.
You've been what have your videos been about lately?
um, just sort of showing what this reality presents. So take, for example, the bigger picture, as it were. So we started with the silent era films and everything was shown to you in black and white. So they've imprinted everybody to think in very black and white terms. Then they introduced colour, but people aren't seeing colours in the sense of frequencies and things in nature and observing what's sort of presented to them. The system is sort of hinting at these things in a very twisted way, but they're actually showing things. It's like all this, you've got to have a barcode on you and the mark of the beast, and you've got to be identified, and we need to track you and monitor you. Well, it's a systems version of the spiritual truth of we need to find who we are, and that means going within inside oneself and realizing what we are, what we're capable of, and the awesome power we really got inside us. This is the big trick. They've made us feel like we're participants. Made us feel like we're ants, like we're little me's against this great big system, playing David and Goliath, really. But once you see through it, it's one in the eye of Goliath, isn't it?
Yes.
Because it's like I don't have a fear of anything really. I look forward to the day I can take the outer garment off, as in the physical vessel, with a sort of feeling inside that I'm an eternal spirit. So any system threats have now lost any power. Because if I don't fear death, what can they throw at me?
Yes, James. It's got to be happy every day, haven't you?
Well, yeah, it comes down to the magnetic energy. We've got something like, I think it's 30 trillion volts we can generate from ourselves. That's a hell of a lot of power. There's
Wow.
nothing electrical that even comes close to that. That's a winner straight off. Can't lose this. They know it as well. That's why you've got everything being thrown out at the moment, trying to start wars in the Middle East. They're just playing out this silly script. They're insane idea. I think, in fact, what I think they're doing is like a filtering system. So you've got the education to pick out the bright ones, cream them off. Then we'll pick the ones from university. We'll pick the very best through things like Dragon's Den, X Factor. We'll pick off all the ones we can exploit and make money from and keep our power. Now we start putting stuff out in the truth community. Who can see through the bullshit? I think they've got this insane plan that they can find a human that can actually unlock what causes creation, because that's what they'd want. If you want to set yourself up as a false god, you'd need to know that. I think they've got the mechanics of knowing how the energy grids of everything works, why oil rigs are placed where they are, where every gas platform is placed where it is, why the Vatican is where it is. All these things are there in place in these set places for a reason. They've got a knowledge that they've kept from humanity, but they're missing that spark of creativity, which they will never ever find. They've got this insane plan. If they think they're ever going to find it, they've lost this already. They know it. Their time is up. Time is something they've imposed on us in this reality. You've got to be at work at this time. You've got to go to school at this time. You ring the bell, now you can go to the toilet. It's all instilling this subjected to time. So
Yeah.
I reject their bullshit. I'll get up when I'm finished sleeping. Naturally. Works for me.
How many hours do you sleep a night then, James? Just asking.
I don't actually know. Probably 8. I listen to audiobooks.
That's good.
Or I meditate. I'll go into a state where I deny the 5 senses and I'll be somewhere else. And you sort of go into this state of you're neither asleep nor awake, and it's as real as here. It's difficult to even put into words. And it's like, I can go anywhere I want. And it's like, this is fantastic. It's like, oh, I'll just sit here, I'll just lay here or sit here.
In our dreams, we can go wherever we want, can't we?
Yeah, and they can feel very real because they are real. It's just this reality is trying to tell you that there is nothing outside of this reality. That's why they're boldly trying to go into space. But as we know, they end up in the Pacific or in the Nevada desert or Greenland.
I'll go to sleep tonight and I'll be going, James going, come on, we're going for a walk.
Yeah. Well, why not? If I
get that later on, I'll be going, James, not now. Yeah, I was only making fun there.
Well, no, but the thing is, you can do that because we've already done that. So you can draw on the experience from the memory of something you've already done. That reinforces it and can make it even more real. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
It works, definitely. It's like if it's overcast outside, I can go into a different world and I can go for a walk through woodland in my mind. And I hear the birds singing and it becomes...
Don't forget, you've got to come for the robin.
Yeah. Where's blackbirds around this way?
Blackbirds. Well, I've really enjoyed us talking, James.
Yeah.
And we never ended talking because until you stayed here, I suppose most of our friendship was in the public, and then you stayed with me for a few weeks.
Yeah.
How long did you stay with me for?
5 weeks.
Oh wow, was it that long?
Yeah, February to March.
Oh, and now we're back on the public bit again, aren't we?
Yeah.
Anyway, Joe, don't go just yet, but we'll say goodbye for this hangout, and then I'll say goodbye to you off air.
Yeah.
James, it's been an absolute pleasure. Chat room.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for all your talking and what you think.
You're welcome. Hopefully it's giving people out there positive they can draw on, or it resonates with them and think, oh yeah, I feel better about this now.
You've always got to feel better, and then it's all better anyway.
Yeah. If you feel
mind over matter.
Well, it is. I mean, you think you get people they show us in India walk barefoot across hot coals. How is that possible to do? It must be mind over matter to do that.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Otherwise, you're going to burn your feet.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Jane.